Hi everyone, welcome to the last video of Penrith Series. I think it's the 5th video now, right? So first off, let me apologize for having no videos last week because I was actually overseas for more than a week. And anyway, it's a good thing because now that I'm back, the indicative price for Penrith is also just went out. So now that I have the Penrith indicative price, I can actually do a very nice detailed price elevation chart. And to be honest, right, I already have my forecasted price as well, so I'll talk about that when we talk about the price elevation portion. Now, today I want to say why is I want to show you guys the comprehensive framework that I have that I use to apply on Penrith, and then for my own home buying purchase, right, I am thinking of buying Penrith. So it's going to be 2 properties in Queenstown. Yeah, this is real. Basically I'm sharing with you guys the reasons why I may be buying 2 properties in Queenstown because I already have one right now, the one that I'm staying in. So Penrith might be my second property in Queenstown, but there also is a slight chance that it's not, and you can watch on to find out more. Without further ado, let's start. Welcome to the prep framework. I purposely made it such that it's the word prep, which is like the short form of preparation. Do the prep work required before you buy your next property purchase, and make sure that it's a smart choice, smart choice homes. So first P is project details. It's basically everything within the project itself. You have your developer record, things like your afternoon views, facilities, floor plans, furnishings, fittings, maintenance costs, etc. Everything within the project. Next letter R is radius. So radius is basically in the radius around the project, what do we have? So the external part of it. So, for example, the amenities which I've covered a lot in my walkabout videos, your education, transport. I've done the walking distance to MRT video as well, and then your notes, right? Employment or education clusters nearby. For example, for Penrith will be One North, and to CBD is everything as well, and also noise or road exposure, shelter coverage, and just bear in mind that this framework is something that I will be applying to all project analysis, not just for Penrith. Okay. Now the third one, E, exit strategy. So very straightforward, right? Exit strategy is basically how best can you exit your project. So radius obviously makes up a big part of it, and not just radius, right? Even the first P as well. And then you have the upgrader pool, what are surrounding upgraders, your supply demand, resale transaction velocity, future transformation. So not to worry, when we get to the later parts of the video, I will definitely be going through this framework. I'll be applying this framework to run through and complete my analysis. And last one, the most important is price, right? I mean, the entry price is the most important one. As long as it's a reasonable price or even an undervalued price that you're going in, you are very, very safe, especially if compared to other launches, for example. Like, I can just give an example for Sky at Holland, right? Right now, it's priced so attractively that if you compare it to something like Alta, right, it's even cheaper than Alta, which is quite amazing. I was really, really surprised by the Sky at Holland price. So maybe that's the next video I will do. Yeah. And obviously, other than the actual price itself, you have to consider other factors like the upgraded price support, which in the case of Penrith is really good because we have all the $1 million HDBs, right? The nearby resale performance, I've already covered. I've given a very high level view in terms of average profitability of those projects, and most of them are pretty good. But in this video, I'll give you my detailed analysis to show the analyzed gains for different holding period. A shorter holding period, which is those that you are kind of doing for investment, and then the longer holding period for people who prefer to stay, but at the same time, you want your property to appreciate, right? Yeah, so that's that. So obviously comparable new launches as future GRS, right? So without further ado, let's start applying this framework. The first thing is definitely going to be the project details. We actually covered most of these when we did our very first Penrith video as part of the introduction to Penrith. So what I'm going to do here is just focus on the information that is new since then. And the most important will be the expected date of handover, which is basically the day you get your keys. And that's 1st April 2029. So that would be like the first unit that gets key is this date. and then for the subsequent 2 to 3 months, they will gradually give out the rest of the keys. Yeah. Now, the latest you can expect to get your keys will be the 1st April 2031 date here, which is basically like the official TOP date. Yeah. So they have like a 2 year buffer in case anything goes wrong. And it's good that they give you this expected date of handover as well. Because some projects, the expected date of handover is only like 1 year before the official TOP. It's good that this is like 2 years before. And you can plan accordingly based on this. But remember that this 1st April 2029 is not a committed date. Okay, it's just a FYI. So that you can plan accordingly. Right. Now, the other new information we have is in terms of the car park lot distribution. So if you are driving, this pertains to you. Otherwise, yeah, you can just go to the next section. But anyway, it's a very fast one. So basement, 228 lots, 2 levels of MSCP, 142 lots, or rather 231 lots if you want to include the 3 handicap lots. And the childcare center gets 3. So total is your 376. Now, 376, you'll notice that is not 100%. It's 462. But personally, as somebody who stays in Queenstown, I think my place, the car park occupancy rate is low. It's like 50%. Yeah, really. So like 50%. So I would say that this 376 is sufficient. I think it's definitely sufficient, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is a site plan. I think that is going to be more interesting because I will talk about facilities, just a quick one, and then you have the most important thing, the orientation and the afternoon sun. On to the site plan now. So you'll see that the entrance is actually located at the Margaret Drive. I've mentioned several times in my walkabout videos. I show you guys the actual location, right? I think because there's a early childcare center that's open to the public, so they have to design their entrance such that when you turn in, right, it doesn't actually bring you to an arrival court. So the first impression is not that strong, especially if you're a seller trying to sell this project. You sell to the buyer. The buyer can come in from the main entrance. They can't even see the arrival court. Yeah, but okay, I think it's because of the early childcare center being open to public, so they have to split it 2 ways from the entrance. Yeah, because they only have one entrance. Now, the arrival court is also a little disappointing for me personally, as someone as a potential Penrith buyer, as someone who really is really interested in Penrith. Right? I find it a bit disappointing because the arrival court, there's no water feature based on like the 3D rendering video that they have, right? It's pretty plain, the arrival court. So a little disappointing there. Now, in terms of facilities wise, though, I think the total number of facilities is very decent. The different variety and the number of facilities they have for this land size, for this number of units, 462 units, right? It's good. And you also have more facilities on the Sky Terrace. Although to me, the Sky Terrace, the most important thing, I guess, is the dining, the barbecue. I have actually tried having barbecue event at Sky Terrace before, high level Sky Terrace. So yeah, it's actually pretty nice. And this is both at level 40, the roof garden. So that's a nice touch. Now, in terms of the clubhouse and the gym, you do have some pretty decent facilities here. You have your library. I mean, quite standard library, gym, reading room, games room, lounge, all that. Now, in terms of swimming pool, I think because the land size isn't that big, and not to mention the fact that they have to make up the space, they have carved out space for like a public road to go to the childcare center, right? So they don't have an adult lap pool here. There's only one big lifestyle pool, although you can still swim like a lap in there. But it's going to be very crowded because it's lifestyle pool, right? And you can see the little white spots at the corner, some of the edges or corner of the pool, right? That's jacuzzi jets. Yeah. So nice. I mean, it's a nice touch. You have jacuzzi jets. Although it would be better if it's like separate jacuzzi pools, right? But land size constraint. Not just the overall land size, but also because like the childcare center plus the roads leading to the childcare center really do carve out or take up some space. And if the fact that they managed to squeeze the tennis court is also nice. Yeah. The only thing I want to say is the kids playing one is over here at the bottom, while the kids pool is all the way up. It's a bit inconvenient. I mean, if you're bringing your kid to play, but I guess they assume that when you're going to the pool, you wouldn't be going to the playground. Maybe that's the case sometimes, but not always. Anyway, yeah, and side gate is actually right where I mentioned. It will be when I did my very first Penrith walkabout video when we did the Penrith to MRT station. So for this, right, I think in fact it's even nearer than the start point that I was showing previously. Mm. So yeah, that's good. So that wraps it up in terms of the facilities. Let's move on to talk about the afternoon sun as well as the views. More importantly, the views, I would say. Yeah. Okay, so very straightforward. You have four different facings here for Penrith. So you have the south facing, north facing, and then two pool facing. The obvious worst facing is actually the south facing because it's a HDB view. The stacks 8, 7, and 12 here. In fact, the clearance to the HDB is like 30 or 40 meters. Basically, there's only one thing that's between you and the HDB, and that's the linear park connector, linear canal connector. I forgot what's the full long name, but that's the same connector that I was constantly using for the walkabout videos. Yeah. Okay. So yes, it's very near, and even though the HDB is not high, the Strathmore HDB is like 21 or 23 stories. Even if you buy a high floor in these three stacks, your view is still going to be blocked by other residential projects in this area, be it HDB or condo. There's like many high-rise residential projects here. So these three stacks are likely going to be the cheapest stacks as well. Now on next to the north facing, I think the north facing may be the most expensive stacks in this project, which is why they gave it to the two four bedrooms, right? And of course, there's like one two bedroom there that managed to squeeze in terms of the size, the layout. Now, in terms of this unblocked view, bear in mind I have previously done the fourth Penry video, right? Remember, the view may become blocked. Why? Because of future development in the master plan. So do check out the fourth video if you want to know more details about that. Now, in terms of the pool facing is a lot more straightforward. Basically, the 9, 10, and 11, they actually have a potential to be the best view as well, best of both worlds, because they get the pool view, they also get the unblocked view. Oh, rather 9 and 11. Then it's probably too blocked. Yeah. 9 and 11 will get good views in terms of the outer view, because for number 9 especially, on the top here, this area where you look to the left from your balcony on number 9, right? It's a primary school, so you have a bit of clearance there. That's why the view will be unblocked. But you still run into the risk of it being blocked by the future developments. Now, as for 11, right, you actually have the orchard view, but there's a risk that you get blocked by the HDB beside, the Dawson View HDB. Although, based on what I know about Dawson View HDB, right, the blocking part should be minimal because the Dawson HDB is closer to block 72 than 70. In fact, they have a nice landscaping area where 70 is on their plot of land. So I think 11 and 9 should have pretty good views. Maybe the developer might even price them higher than the 345. That really depends on how developer will price it. But for me, in terms of my price elevation chart, I have more or less taken into consideration all of this. So, and the fact that they have given us the indicative price is really good. And I'll run through that when we talk about the price elevation chart. Effectively, that really helps a lot in deciding what will the price to be, what is the good entry price. And for me personally, I created that price elevation chart for myself as well, because I want to buy Penrith. In fact, okay, and I'm not just looking at Penrith. There's also another project I'm looking at, but I'll talk more about that in the conclusion of this video. So yes, price average chart is already ready. I'll share with you guys later. Views, we have talked about the facing. Now, one last thing is the afternoon sun. Actually, there's almost no afternoon sun because this is already a very nice north-south building kind of scenario, right? It's just that because the land itself, although it's rectangular, it is slightly tilted in terms of like the north-south orientation. So you do get a little bit of indirect sun. So I just thought that I should at least point out so that you know which units do get a little bit of indirect sun. But this little bit of indirect sun, I think it's possible that developer may not even price it in terms of like the different stacks because it's so indirect, right? You look at the angle that's coming in. I think maybe at most a corner of your window is hot. Your room shouldn't get affected. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move on to the next section. We'll talk about the. I'll just give you guys a quick recap in terms of the framework. All right, in terms of the framework, we have covered the first 3 points for the project details. Now we are on to the unit mix, floor plans, and unit lift ratio. I mean, obviously, floor plans comparison will take a lot longer. So I'll just quickly talk about the unit mix here as well as the unit lift ratio. So unit mix, previously we shared what we know back then for the first Penrith video. So now we have a lot more detail, right? Like the specific kind of breakdown. You have a 2 bed, 1 bath, which is the 2 bedroom, 614 square feet, 76 units, and then 2 bed, 2 bath, 3 bed, 2 bath. You have compact, the deluxe, and then the premium. These are the premiums. And you have the 4 bedroom, 4 bedroom premium. Okay, and asterisk stands for the fact that they have actually the yard and WC for these 4 units here, 4 unit types here. And unit lift ratio is actually pretty nice. You have you see the dark blue blocks here, 3 lifts here to serve 6 stacks per block. So I think that's nice. It's a good decent ratio. Now on to the floor plans. I think that's the most important, most interesting one, other than the price. We'll start with the 2 bedroom floor plans. There's only 2 variations. One is 2 bed, 1 bath. The other is 2 bed, 2 bath. The 2 bed, 2 bath is their so-called 2 bed premium, but there's no study. Okay. Now the stats are also listed here, and you can also see in terms of the site map view how the stats, where the stats are facing, and I've already covered that earlier. So now let's talk about the floor plan. Now, the 2 bed, 1 bath, obviously, is usually the one that gets the worst layout typically. So you have wasted space here in a long walkway. You have an open kitchen here. So the living room plus the kitchen plus the walkway is 28 meters. Then you have 28 square meters. Balcony 5 square meter, bedroom 8 square meters. 8 square meters is okay. 8 square meter is like the bare minimum to put a queen size bed and yet still have a bit of walking space. And master is 11, master bath 5. So quite straightforward. But yeah, ideally, if you're able to, definitely go for the 2 bed, 2 bath, because if you look at the 2 bed, 2 bath, it's a dumbbell layout. It's more efficient, 1 bedroom, one bathroom on either side. And master bedroom and master bath obviously being bigger, although they're still the same size as a 2 bed, 1 bath. The main difference here in terms of the size, the square meter size, we have a 6 square meter size, right? 6 square meter. So 6 square meter here, mainly I would say, is the kitchen, which is 5 square meter, plus the living room and walkway, everything 25 plus 5, 30. So you have 2 square meter here. And you have an additional 4 square meter from the bathroom. That's the difference. Bedroom sizes are all the same. Okay. But yes, if you are looking to buy a 2 bedroom, this 2 bedroom premium is pretty decent. They also provide a storage cabinet here actually, which is a bit unusual because usually they don't provide storage cabinet in the living area or actually anywhere else. Yeah, they usually only provide the wardrobes. Right, let's move on to the 3 bedroom. So 3 bedroom, there's actually 4 different layouts, two for the 3 bedroom, two for the 3 bedroom premium. By the way, excuse my talking video here. I will move around because of the floor plan space. I need to find space to put it without blocking the floor plan view. Yeah. So for the 3 bedroom, they actually have a very nice 786 square feet layout here. It's very efficient. If you look at it, right, basically kitchen is enclosed and it has window. Everything has window. Basically, you have all the natural ventilation that you need. All both toilets have windows, kitchen have window, and the kitchen is also enclosable. But you if you wonder how they achieve this, right? It's actually very simple. They are cutting away space in the kitchen, right? It's a 5 square meter space here because the space is cut away. You have a non-void space here, and this over here is also cutting away space from the living dining room area. Okay. Now, bedrooms, they still maintain it as 8 square meter. So kudos to them for that because sometimes when they do compare, they may do like one room that is not 8 square meter, one room where they don't provide you a wardrobe. The moment you see that there's no wardrobe in the floor plan, it means that having a wardrobe there is too cramped. That's why they don't provide you with it. Okay. Balcony is standard, it's 5 square meter. And master bedroom now, you notice that it's actually bigger than the two bedroom by 1 square meter, so a lot more livable per se. And master bathroom is the same. Yeah. So you can see that the size, they really made it very efficient. Of course, maybe people will prefer the walkway here to be shorter, but I think this is still acceptable. Yeah, you have enough space to put your shoe cabinet, etc. This is alright. Not to mention the moment you are in, turn left is your kitchen. Now, let's talk about the slightly bigger three bedroom, which is 850 square meter. So for this, right, it's for people who prefer where you open the door, your so-called foyer doesn't face your room directly. Lah. And I think some people also think feng shui. Yeah, one is privacy, one is feng shui. And feng shui can be both ways. I've heard different saying like both foyer layout is desirable. But mainly this 850 is not so cramped. It's not so compact because the kitchen is 7 square meter. So like I said, right, the kitchen they actually cut away some of the space earlier when I was talking about the 786. So 5 versus 7, that's your 2 square meter. Now between the 850 and 786 it's a 6 square meter. So the kitchen alone takes up two. So there's a 4 square meter difference. Where is it? Actually it's very straightforward. It's the living and dining area. You have 30 square meter here versus 26 square meter. So this one is very straightforward. Yeah, 4 square meter from the living dining, 2 square meter from the kitchen. That makes up your difference from 786 square feet to 850 square feet. And I think it depends on how you see it. I think the compact, what I like is that the compact living and dining, although it's smaller, it still give you a nice rectangular shape, right? It's just a shorter rectangle than the 850. You look at the width, it's still the same. Okay. So, and bedroom sizes are all the same 8, 8, 12, queen, queen, king. So, if you are looking for a three bedroom here and you don't want to get a premium, right? The best is really the 786 because for the 850, you pay extra for a slightly bigger living slash dining and a slightly bigger kitchen, but you also get HDB view. Look at the stat. Okay, it's stat 08. It's HDB view. To be fair, for the 786, one of the stats is also HDB, but you get a pool view. There's a pool view that you can try for the 786. So this 786 layout is really good. Okay, now let's move on. Let's talk about three bedroom premium. On to the three bedroom premium. Three bedroom premium layouts, the difference is actually quite big because the one is 936, one is 1066. So the difference in size is no longer just 6 square meter, it's 12 square meters. But one of the floor plan to me is a lot better than the other. And let's talk about why. So first off, looking at the rate numbers, right? The first one that shouts out to you, right, is the living and dining area, along with the foyer, right, being 30 square meters on the 936 versus 35 on the 1066. So 1066 is a lot wider, the living room, and consequently the balcony is also bigger, 2 square meter. So you have 2 plus 5, and then the next thing is the kitchen. The kitchen is a lot wider, so you have 10 square meter on the kitchen versus 8 square meters at the 936 side. So that's another 2, right? So 5, 2, 2, 2, 9 already. So there's a 3 square meter difference here. Where is it coming from? The master bedroom because of the walk-in wardrobe. So you have a 17 square meter master bedroom versus a 14 square meter. Now, 14 square meter is already very nice versus say the normal three bedroom layout with the 12 square meters, right? But this walk-in wardrobe, I'm not a fan of it. This is the show unit. So when you go down to the show unit, right? If you're with me, right, I'll show you why it's not ideal at all. The main reason is okay. I'm just say it here. The main reason is it's a swing door wardrobe, but it's L shaped. So when you open either side, you cannot open the other side. You can only open one side at a time. So imagine your wife clothes is on this side, yours is on this side. So when you take your clothes, your wife cannot take your clothes. Can see some potential issue there. If you know, you know. Okay. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this L-shaped wardrobe here being swing door, but the fact that there's no wardrobe here, it means a very nice living space here, right? Because if you look at it, the space is actually the same, but minus the wardrobe here because it became a walk-in. So yeah, depends on how you see it, I guess. But for me, I'm not a fan of this. So if you think about it, right, you are paying that amount of extra content for these 12 square meters. Five of it is in living room, two of it is balcony, two of it in kitchen, three of it in a walk-in wardrobe that is not that ideal in terms of the design. So yeah, you really have to think for yourself whether that's a premium that you rather pay for. Because for me, personally, what I see is if I'm going to pay an additional 12 square meter, I would rather get something like a flex room or a study, right? There's no flex room, there's no study between the 1066 and 936. I mean, a bigger living room and bigger balcony may have its appeal, a bigger kitchen too, but the walk-in wardrobe, I'm not a fan of the walk-in wardrobe, man. I would rather they carve out another 1 square meter from the living room plus the 3 square meter from the wardrobe to make up like a study room. I think that would be nicer, more efficient use of space, or even just creating another home shelter, for example, because there's no home shelter here. Within Penrith, right, all the units don't have home shelter. Home shelter is your staircase that's outside the unit, right? So yeah, to me, I actually see the 936 square feet as the winner, the better layout here. In fact, I myself is going to do most likely if I buy Penrith, it's going to be this 936. And I feel that there's a reason why they gave a good view to the 1066 because of the factors that I just mentioned, where the 1066 is slightly less ideal in terms of the fact that there's no study. I'll definitely prefer like a study or a flex room over a walk-in wardrobe. That's number one. Yeah. That's why the view is the best, right? Like as I've mentioned, like the stack 9 and stack 11, I think have the best views. In fact, stack 9 will be better than 11 because 11 has a risk of being blocked by Dawson, the sky view at Dawson. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the four bedroom. Next up, we have the four bedroom. So the four bedroom sizes here are more manageable, say. It's 1173 and 1281. So manageable in terms of quantum. Of course, if you have one larger four bedroom, then yeah. But I'll say this, their four bedroom design is efficient. So let's talk about the normal four bedroom versus the four bedroom premium. First, the normal four bedroom, right? You have your 9 square meter kitchen, 2 square meter WC, and there's a 3 square meter store, so very similar to the three bedroom. In fact, I think the kitchen here, 9 square meter is actually smaller than the three bedroom premium. Yeah. But the one thing I don't like about the four bedroom here is that the bedroom sizes are all still 8 square meter. You would have preferred having a bigger square meter for your bedrooms, I would say, especially the other bedrooms, right? I mean, it's all 8, and then the master bedroom is 18. It's a huge difference from master bedroom. Master bedroom double the size, more than double the size of the other bedrooms. So yeah, it's a bit imbalanced in that sense. I think it should at least be like 9 square meter. Although you can't fault them, right? Because 8 square meter is still the bare minimum you can put in a queen size bed. You can still walk a bit around to get your clothes, etc. So it's still functional. It's still livable. Mm, that's why. Now, in terms of the living room and balcony, living room is slightly bigger than three bedroom premium, 2 square meter more. Yeah. So it's mainly the master bedroom. And master bedroom again, it has the walk-in wardrobe. In fact, both the four bedroom have walk-in wardrobe, so you have to live with it. You have to live with that design thingy that I mentioned earlier for the three bedroom. Now, one thing I really like about the 1281, which is the four bedroom premium, they actually managed to give you a landscape view without it being like a huge size. For 1281, giving you a landscape view is really good. And it's definitely landscape because the balcony is 11 square meter. You already see a much longer balcony, right? For extra 4 square meter here. Okay, so let's talk about differences again, right? You have 10 square meter difference between 4 bedroom premium and 4 bedroom. That 10 square meter balcony takes up 4 square meter. So some people may not like this, but if you want a landscape view, this definitely comes along with it. And the living room being landscape also means that it's also bigger, 38 square meter. Now, the only thing is the walkway here is a little long, so people might not like this, right? But I think they still managed to make it more efficient per se because you still make use of the space here. There's a kitchen, 10 square meter kitchen, so same as a 3 bedroom premium. 2 square meter WC children store. All of this, actually, all the specs are all the same. It's really just the balcony and the living room, and then the kitchen. 1 square meter, 1 square meter, 4 square meter. And where's the other 4 square meter? One more bathroom. Yeah. So it's actually very straightforward for the 4 bedroom premium. But I think the biggest difference is the landscape view. Yeah, that landscape view is very, very enjoyable for a 4 bedroom layout. Now, only thing, like I said, right, the complaint I have is always the bedroom lah. The bedroom is a little too small for my liking, especially for 4 bedroom. Like you can accept this for like two, maybe 3 bedroom compared. 3 bedroom premium is a bit stretching if you want to say 8 square meter is acceptable, and then 4 bedroom they do 8 square meter as well. Would have been better it was 9 square meter, but I guess they want to keep the quantum size palatable. Yeah. All right, so that concludes the floor plan. Let's move on to talk about the furnishings and the fittings, the quality of it. Yeah, furnishings and fittings. This section here might be the reason why one of the reasons why I end up not buying Penrith for me personally, because I'm looking for a homestay for my next purchase for my kids' primary school to match it. Now the thing is, these fittings, these furnishings, they are not this are not good. These fittings. Okay, graph is not bad. Okay, graph is not bad. Frank, okay. Roca, no. I have had bad experience with Roca because my current one place they actually provided Roca, and I'm no longer using Roca. So that should tell you what happened. Okay. Next, Samsung fridge. Okay, it's not lousy per se, but it's not something you expect from a condo project in RCR region, right? Then the Electrolux. The hood, hob, washer, dryer are all Electrolux. Okay, and the graph will be your bathroom, the bathroom shower head, the tap. Roca will be your water closet, and if you're running the basin. Frank with the kitchen sink. Samsung is the fridge. So Electrolux takes a big portion of the kitchen appliances for this project. And I probably shouldn't be saying this in the video, but because my friend had such a bad experience with it, with the Electrolux models that were given in his condo, he always he changes the L to another letter. What letter do you think it is? You look at this to say that it's not that good. Okay. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to using this because if you search online, they are known for having issues with some of their kitchen appliances. But I'm not going to talk about it here. You can just Google it. You find out. You will see what I'm talking about. Okay. But like I said, if you're buying Penrith for capital appreciation, you're just going to sell it after 4 years. You're not going to stay in it, right? These all of these do not matter to you. My only dilemma now is that I am buying for homestay. Okay, another way to look at it is that you just buy for homestay, you use it, you don't care because you focus more on the capital appreciation, right? That's another way to look at it. But because at the same time you have other projects that are on sale, that are also priced reasonably, and their fittings and finishings are much better. It does leave a bad taste in your mouth, if you do buy Penrith and with going accepting all this. There are definitely some things about Penrith that I don't like. We'll probably talk about it later. It's really more of the interior, the project details. I didn't really cover it earlier, but I'll talk about it later. But anyway, I'm talking about it now, right? For at least for the furnishings and fittings quality. It's not that it's bad. It's just like it's not something you expect for a RCR project. Maybe for a OCR project, yeah, this is okay. That's what I mean. All right. Anyway, let's move on to talk about the maintenance cost. The maintenance fee is actually a little on the high side. 2 bedroom is 424.80. And then when you think about the facilities that they have, furnishings that they're providing you, although furnishings and fittings are not part of the maintenance per se, at least the common facilities, right? It's like, why am I paying this amount? Especially if you are buying 2 bedroom. So this is not ideal. I think 3 bedroom plus yard paying a 424.80, I think can still be acceptable in today's market. But the 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom compared, I would say it's a little on the high side. Yeah. But anyway, if this is something that you're comfortable with, go ahead. But you have to be happy with what you're paying. I didn't talk about facility. Okay, I thought about what we have in terms of the facilities just now. But I didn't talk about some of the things that I saw and I was like, so ugly. But yeah, later. Okay, when we talk about why I may not buy Penrith. Okay, so for amenities, right? Or rather radius, right? I'm not going to cover too much. It's going to be very fast in this video because I've already done 4 videos on it in my walkabout video, north, south, east, west of Penrith. Yeah, and then also driving distance. So most of it I really covered already. So just gonna give you guys a quick view of like the key amenities around Penrith. This is the map view. If you need this, if you like this, do pause the video. Take a screen capture of this, photo of it, whatever it is. Next, we're gonna move on to. I'll show you guys the collated list that I have done after our walkabout, going into like the details of the different amenities, how many there are, etc. So this is my collated list of the amenities. Feel free to pause and look at it if you want to look at it in more detail. It's the same list that was I have done. I've slowly collated over the walkthrough videos. Now, if you want to see the actual site, how it looks like, etc., then you look at the video itself. Yeah, the earlier videos. And yeah, I'm not going to talk more about this because this video is already very long already. I'm going to move on next. Oh, and just let me quickly talk about the employment slash education cluster nodes that are nearby. So because all of this, everything I've covered in the framework other than this point. So for this point here, actually it's very straightforward. Queenstown is actually very well connected. It's like 15 minutes MRT ride less to CBD. And then you have the One North. You also have the Jurong Lake Innovation or Jurong Lake District or the JE area where it's also a few MRT stops. So very well connected. And education cluster wise, you are near enough to Clementi, all the different education there. You have your tertiary education, you have your secondary school as well. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the third part of the framework, which is the E, the exit strategy. So for the exit strategy, right, the very first point you see me putting radius, right? Because whatever is in your radius is also very important for your exit strategy. And we have so many things in Queenstown. The only thing lacking, like I said, is like the good primary school, right? And in the earlier videos, and also like there's no integrated shopping center with MRT per se, but there is a upcoming one coming. We just don't know when it is. It's already planned for in the master plan. Actually, the next point is upgrader pool. Now, upgrader pool, also from my walkabout, you should see the amount of HDBs that are here. So you have many HDB upgraders from the Queenstown area, and I was cut just the Dawson alone is a lot, and then you have the Mailing Sterling as well. And other than just HDB upgraders, the condos here are all of I mean, the last new launch was back in 2018, right, for Sterling Residences. Commonwealth Towers was 2014. Queen's Peak, I think, was 151. No, Queen's Peak was 17, 2017. So all these projects, right, they are soon reaching their 10-year mark. You will have potential upgraders from these condos as well, these condo homestayers. So upgraded pool is very, very healthy. Now, very abundant, in fact, I should say abundant. Now, in terms of supply demand, we also are in a good situation, right? Because supply demand, like I said, the last new condo was 2018. So there is definitely some demand for a new condo here. You can see from the condo transactions here, the resale transactions, and that's actually the next point, the resale transaction velocity. I'll go on to that later. Now, the demand itself, yeah, actually, I'm talking about demand now. So, supply demand is not an issue, to be honest. You have so many HDB upgraders here. The condos here are all of a certain age already. Yeah, almost 10 years, 10 years or slightly 10 years or slightly over 10 years for their lease. So I don't think there will be any demand supply issue. In fact, it's very, very healthy ratio. Sterling Residences is actually the best indication because Sterling Residences was also a project that came in after you have like Commonwealth Towers, Queen's Peak, Margaret View, Queens, etc. And yet it still performed pretty well. Now, of course, on launch day, it wasn't like a 90% sold because back then the market was a bit different. Yeah. But you look at the resale transaction of Sterling and the fact that they also fully sold before their ABST timeline, right? You look at the resale transaction of Sterling, right? It's actually the best performing resale condo in this area, Queenstown. Generally speaking, because it's the newest, right? So the quantum is the highest. Yeah, the transaction and the volume is also the highest. And that's what you will enjoy for Penrith too. Because Penrith had there's such a healthy gap between the last condo and now. Now, resale transaction velocity, I will, because I actually have done the analysis on the resale performance in this area. All the condos that I talked about in my walkabout videos earlier, the fourth videos earlier. So I will talk about that when we talk about resale performance under the pricing session for the framework. And in there, I'll just quickly show you guys the resale transaction velocity. Yeah, basically the number of transactions that you have there is definitely very healthy. Now, future transformation, I'd like to point you to this map. This map is the same map that I used to talk about the views being blocked. If you remember, you have Penrith there, and then the 2.1, the 1.4 location being the potential blocking part, right? But if you expand the map further, you see that there's actually quite a few plots here 1.4, 2.1, 2.1, there's 3, 1.4, there's 1, and then you have another two areas on the south of the Queenstown MRT that's subject to detailed planning. Those two subject to detailed planning is actually right across the polyclinic and malls over there. In fact, I think they are going to take away there's a international school there that probably will be revamped because that's where this plot of land is, more or less. Or the HDB beside, because the HDB beside is very old also. Yeah. So what I want to say is that now Queenstown is a mature, so-called blue chip estate, right? With basically guaranteed capital appreciation here as long as you don't buy a very bad layout or a bad project per se. Start with A and with S. That project, don't buy. Okay, that's also considered in Queenstown. But that's a very different project because it's not a mega development. Now, again, sorry, I sidetracked a little. So future transformation wise, yes, there's no future transformation for Queenstown because Queenstown is a mature blue chip estate. But you still have multiple developments are coming, residential developments are coming as per the master map. So there are still incoming projects that will definitely help to boost the resale value of Penrith in future. Why? Because Penrith is the last project that is nearest to or rather I shouldn't say nearest, but within walking distance to MRT. You look at the 2.1 plot, the 1.4 plots, the subject of detailed planning, etc. All these are further than to the MRT than Penrith. So as a strategy, you have a very good one for Penrith. Now let's talk about price because I have the price average chart that I have done an estimate, of course, to share with you guys as well as, like I said, the proven resale performance. Here I have a price elevation chart to share with you guys. Remember, this is based on my estimates, based on what I have analyzed for the floor, the different views, the afternoon sun, etc., and then based on the starting from price. So these prices, if you notice, these are the exact ones that they share in terms of the indicative price, the press release. This number here is actually the number I worked backwards to do my forecast initially before before the indicative prices were out. So you can see that it's actually $100 more, 100 PSF more than the extrapolated price based on the indicative. So looking really good for Penrith. It's definitely lower than my initial forecast. So that's really good. That's number one. Number two, in terms of the price elevation chart, you'll see that I already have the figures put in. in terms of the quantum. So it matches in terms of the indicative price. For sure, you will match what you see online, rather the indicative prices that developer have shared. And the whole point of this price elevation chart is really on the booking day itself to help you make the decision quickly, because booking day is very launch day is very chaotic. It's very fast. It's really you need to be able to make a snap decision. So it's really important to have this price elevation chart with you to have the figures ready, and then you see whether how big is the deviation for the actual price on that day, whether it's something that you are able to accept. All these are very important. So remember, please contact me at this number if you want me to help you with this price elevation chart thingy on booking day itself. And then, of course, before that, we will go to the showroom. I'll give you guys my insights as well. All right. Okay. So this is all I want to share with regards to the price elevation chart. Yeah. This section here, the upgraded price support, is going to be very fast as well, because I've already mentioned this in my walkabout video, in the very first video, right? When we were walking through when we were walking the Sky Park and Sky Terrace at Dawson area. So these are the two record breaking prices in the entire Singapore, by the way. The only reason why I didn't mention Queenstown 4 bedroom is that it's not that Queenstown 4 bedroom didn't have $1 million transactions. It's a lot, okay? You just throw a stone and you hit a $4 million transaction in Queenstown. What I'm talking about here is the 4 bedroom record highest in the entire Singapore goes to Duxton, Pinnacle Duxton. Whereas for the 3 bedroom and the 5 bedroom, Queenstown holds the record for the highest. So Sky Terrace at Dawson for the 5 bedroom, Sky Park at Dawson for the 3 bedroom. So price support wise, you have it here. Okay, even the 3 bedroom here is almost hitting 1 million soon. So yeah, definitely you have to upgrade the price support here, especially the 4 bedrooms. Yeah, and the 4 bedroom, or rather the four room HDB. So 4 room HDB, naturally they will be able to accept either 3 bedroom or 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom, right? Mm. So the demand for the 3 room and 4 room condo for Penrith, I think, would be very healthy. All right, now let's talk about nearby resale performances. Okay, so this is the past resale performance. These are the projects that we are looking at. So actually, there's more, but I'm splitting the analysis into two different types. One with holding period less than 4.5 years, so that's like more for investors' reference, and then another will be for holding period more than 4 years, so like more like own stay plus a bit interest of investment per se, or the capital appreciation per se. So for this particular numbers here, you see this is for less than 4.5 periods for investors reference. So you see for 1 bedroom gain, Queenspeed is the best here. But Penrith, because there's no 1 bedroom, you don't really need to worry about this. It's just FYI. And it's only 4.2% for this is the annualized gains. It's only 4.2% and not the high number that we see when we first did the second video of my walkabout, right? It's because actually when I dive into the figures, the transactions, I saw that there was an outlier case where the 1 bedroom was bought at a very low price. It's the kind where something is wrong, so that person had to quickly sell, that kind of situation. So it skewed the average performance greatly. So I have excluded that so that the number looks a bit more normal per se. Okay. So obviously this is the annualized gain. I also have a figure here, which is the ROI percentage and account. Count is obviously the number of transactions. Okay, so that's where your resale transaction velocity comes in, because we have so many. These are the number of transactions that we have, and the last one, the ROI percentage. This is very simple. This is based on 25% of the purchase price. If you exclude CPF and only look at cash, then obviously the ROI percentage will be even higher. But for now, I'll just take it as 25%, because everyone has varying amounts of like the CPF, right? Yeah, so ROI is actually pretty decent for the 1 bedroom. And if you look at the 2 bedrooms, there's actually a very, very high number of transactions within the Sterling residences for holding period less than 4.5 years. In fact, it's more than this. Total number of transactions for Sterling residents, regardless of the holding period for the 2 bedroom, right? It was like 146. So I just took 80 80 transactions with a good sampling variation, right, to do this analysis. So for the holding period less than 4.5 years, you'll see that even though Sterling Residence has like a very high number of transactions being the newest project here, so Commonwealth Towers actually still takes the cake. That's 5.64%, even with three transactions, sorry. So yeah, ROI is actually very decent. 24.31 is definitely higher than one bedroom, and you'll see that it will be higher for the three bedrooms as well. So again, remember this is less than 4.5 years. And why did I use less than 4.5 years instead of 3 years? Because the SSD has changed to 4 years, right? So we will take a holding period of like less than 4.5 years as a threshold or the benchmark. So if you look at the three bedroom, the surprising figure here is actually Queens, the oldest project here. It actually got highest annualized gain. And remember, this is short holding period, right? This is not like them buying long ago and then they sell it. So it's only three transactions, but what I went to notice was that these three transactions, they really managed to catch the brief time window where Queens was still undervalued. It has not caught up yet, especially after post-COVID era. So congrats to these three folks. They definitely caught this and they earn tremendously, right? ROI percentage 38%, annualized 8.47. Now, if I do not look at this, let's say we don't look at this because this one was like a special scenario and they really caught it. In terms of the normal performance, you'll see that the Commonwealth Towers is again the best, while Sterling Residences is the next best. I mean, it's almost the same, 6.7 and 6.57. So yes, these are good transaction figures, very good performances as well for the Queenstown region, and this is definitely for investor reference. Now for Queensway, it's not that great because again I've shared before, Queensway layout isn't that great, other than the one bedroom. Okay, now let's move on to talk about the resale performance for holding period more than 4.5 years. So more homestayish or homestayish. Okay, next up we have the resale performance for own stay. So some of these, right, like for example for Queens, right, is like many years. Okay. But I wanted to give this perspective as well so that you know that if Penrith you're buying Penrith for own stay, you still get very decent gains. Yeah. So let's see. The Queen Suite is still the winner for the one bedroom, even though Sterling Residences is newer. For two bedroom, you have Sterling Residences taking the crown because it's a newer project. Newer project means that when we go beyond 4.5 years, right, the max it goes is like 5-6 years. Compared to other projects, we are reaching 10 years. So the longer you hold, the most of the time your analyzed gain starts to diminish because it goes over a longer period, right? I mean, makes sense, right? So for two bedroom, the Sterling Residences takes the crown here instead of Commonwealth Towers previously. And the three bedroom is also Sterling. Four bedroom is also Sterling. Although in terms of the three and four for Commonwealth Towers, Queen's Peak, and Margaret View, you see that they are actually very close, mostly. Yeah. So even though they are like 10 years old or slightly over 10 years, it's still performing very healthily. Like for Camel Towers, it's 11 years, right? Since the lease start. Yeah, 11 years already. Because the lease started in 2014. So 4.8% is still very decent for having stayed in the place for like 11 years. Yeah, okay, let's take away the TOP period, everything. It's still extra 7 8 years, 7 years more than like people who are flipping it for profit, right? So yes, the message I want to send here is that Queenstown or Penrith is a project where you can rest assured if you stay here, even if you stay here, your capital appreciation is still decent, your annualized gain is still decent. uh, some of these annualized figures are better than some of the capital appreciation in other places. It's very evident, right, from the figures. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's move on next to the comparable launches and future GLS. Oh, actually, let me just quickly talk about comparable launches here. So for the case of Penrith, right, this is the first project in 8 years for the Queenstown area. So we don't really have a comparable launch in this Queenstown area. I guess we can talk about Sky at Holland and maybe Zion Grand, but those are also different because they are CCR. and it's not a very apple to apple comparison. So instead of comparing it here, I will do it when we do the Zion Grand video or the Sky Holland video. Then we will bring in Penrith and compare as well. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Now we're going to move on to talk about the future GLS. Okay, on to the last point in the framework. The video is almost an hour now. Future GLS. So I've actually mentioned this previously in the first video where I was introducing Penrith and talking about its big cost, right? So Penrith was 1154. Now you have Chuan Grove at 1376, Bayshore at 1388, CDL at 1132, and all of these their projects are going to be out next year or early next year. So the in terms of future GLS, you know that you're already safe because Penrith is 1154, PSF, PPR. And look at all these figures. And by the way, the first two is all of these are in OCR. All these are in OCR region. So you are safe. For sure, you are safe price wise. All right, let's move on. Okay, so this is why not Penrith. Why I would not buy Penrith. So first one, no top school V1K. I already covered this previously. No shopping mall near Queenstown MRT also covered. I think this was like the third video. Yeah. So this is still not so bad because it's still a blue plot. It's still a commercial plot planned for in the URA Master Plan 2025. We just need to be patient. Number three and number four is new. It's based on what we know about the project now. After even deeper analysis into it, and also because the information wasn't even available back then, I have taken away the nightlife portion because I feel like that's a little too niche. So let's talk about these three and four. OCR quality of fittings for RCR project. So I more or less covered this actually when we were talking about the furnishing and fittings quality while running through the framework, right? The prep framework. So Samsung brand fridge, Electrolux for your hood, hob, washer, dryer. You know how to tell whether or not the brand is mass market. You Google it and see whether Shopee listings or any other e-commerce listings pop up. If they do, it's pretty much mass market, and that's really the case for the brands that Penrith is providing. At least for the appliances, the kitchen stuff. Now for the shower heads graph, the sink, the bathroom sink, and the water closet are all Roca, and I think if I'm not wrong, the toilet bowl as well. So for me, I am using Roca in my current project, and they are the first thing to be spoiled. The shower head. First was the shower head, and then the shower stand, the thing where you move up and down, right? Your shower. And then lastly was the Roca water closet, the mixer cartridge. So I'm not a fan of Roca based on what I've shared with you, right? It's not. It's very easy to understand why, right? Okay, so the good thing is for Penrith, the shower stand and the shower head are all graph. It's only the water closet and the others that I mentioned, but those are okay, no issues. I'm still using them, no issues. Yeah, it's the three that I mentioned. So, hey, anyway, there are people who use products that are so-called less reliable and yet they don't encounter any issues. And there are people who use reliable products and end up having many issues. Lemon products. So, is it down to, at the end of the day, it's down to your luck. But thankfully, this does not really affect your capital appreciation. It only affects people who are actually using it, who are the homestay people. Okay, now fourth point, less than ideal facilities design. Why do I say this? So there's two parts to this. First part is a architectural design. Second part is okay, I guess it's also architectural design, but that one is a bit more subjective. It's taste. So let's talk about the first one. First one, do you know that you have to go from if you're in the residential block, you have to take a residential lift to level one, walk to the central area, take the facilities from level one to level two in order to reach your pool deck and your gym, etc. You wouldn't tell this from you can't tell this from the site map, right? Because the site map looks like a case where it's very clear cut from the residential block. You should be able to walk directly on into directly assess the pool deck, the gym, etc. But it's not. You have to go that roundabout way. Don't ask me why. And this roundabout way, uh, it should not. Okay, I shouldn't say should. It does not really affect capital appreciation as well. Why? Because there are projects that have they are proven well performing projects, and they have this as well. You know which one I'm talking about? Jadescape. Jadescape performs very well. Okay, but the residential blocks on the left side of Jadescape, they have to do what I just mentioned, just like Penrith. You walk all the way to the facilities area, you take the lift from level 1 to level 2 in order to access your pools, your gym, your function room, etc. Exactly the same. Although, to be fair, right, for Jadescape, it'd be more acceptable because, like, the residential blocks are away from the uh, clubhouse area. For Penrith, you look at it, it looks connected, but it's not. Yeah. All right. Anyway, does not really affect capital appreciation. So if you are only looking to buy for capital appreciation and you want to sell after 4 years, please go ahead. Penrith is probably the best option. I'll show you guys next in the prep framework why I say so. But for homestay, it does leave a bit of it is a bit lacking in that aspect. And there you go. These are the scores that we have for the prep framework. So 7 for project details. Like you saw where I was talking about the why I would not buy Penrith, right? A lot of it is actually the project details because it's what the developer provided. Okay, I guess because the external portion of Penrith is so strong, they probably felt that the project will still be able to achieve full sales even if they do give like the RCR quality kind of furnishings for RCR project and also some of like the less than ideal architectural design. So yeah, I just realized that I wanted to talk about taste earlier, but I didn't say right. Yeah, there's this English style pavilion beside the gym that I find it very ugly. I don't like it. Okay, but maybe my taste no good lah. Maybe my taste no good. I cannot appreciate it. But I was sharing with my friend. My friend was also because my friend is also looking at buying a project now. He's looking at it and he's like, "Hey, really ugly, yeah." So should I show the photo of how it looks like? Okay lah, better not. Okay, better not. If you go to the showroom, you will see it. Look for number 25 on the side map. Okay. Okay. So anyway, project detail 7. Yeah, because like I said, there are some less than ideal stuff there. So 7. Radius is 8, and obviously because also if you remember the point number 1 and 2 for the why I would not buy Penrith, those are related to the radius, right? No 1 km school, no MRT, no shopping mall connected directly to MRT station, or at least near enough to the MRT station. So 8 points for radius. Exit strategy, solid 9. Yeah, based on what I go through earlier, right? You will have absolute confidence of capital appreciation and easy exit for Penrith, for sure. Definitely easier than River Valley. River Valley, there's too many projects right now. When it comes to TOP time, it's going to be very hard to sell. Unless you're buying for homestay, then River Valley is worth considering. But of course, depending on the price. Entry price is the most important, which brings us next to the price score, 9 points. Why? Because like I said earlier when I was talking about the elevation, right? This is it's 100 PSF cheaper than my forecast, and my forecast was based on the performance of the resale projects in the surrounding. And on top of that, I have not done the conversion from harmonization to non-harmonization. If I had done that, the price difference, the gap would be even bigger. So even without doing that, we already have like 100 PSF guide after our forecast, lower than our forecast for the indicative starting price. Likewise to to my estimated forecast start price. So that's really good. And then the upgrade price support, don't need to mention, right? $1 million HDB, tons of it. Record $1 million HDB in the entire Singapore for the matter, 3 room and 5 room HDB. Nearby resale performance I've shown, analyzed skins are good. Comparable launches I'll talk in future videos. As we talk about all the different launches, we'll compare Penrith as well. But not to worry, Penrith is definitely one of the better ones. And then the future GLS, I will share the prices. So obviously, price is 9, as a strategy 9, radius 8. Because the location is still very, very good. Walking distance to MRT, driving to Orchard, etc. It's all there. The only thing is really just the no go school, no mega shopping mall or integrated development shopping mall, and of course the project details. All right. So overall, it's 8.3 points. Not bad, right? I think it's pretty good. And probably because it's my first project that I'm doing this prep framework video series about, right? So maybe 8.3 you will feel that it's not high, but I'm pretty sure as I review more projects, this 8.3 is going to be like a high score. Yeah. Because you can look, right? Let me just look at the score here, right? 9, 9, 8, those are very high. It's just 1, 7 pulling it down. And I guess you can say that it also pulls it down a little. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the outro of this video. I'm so happy that this is the outro now. And if you have stayed with me for the full 1 hour, thank you very much for your patience and for listening. I'm definitely going to work on making the video shorter, but because the framework is very comprehensive, so there's really a lot of things that I have to cover. So that's why it takes so long. It took so long. In terms of the project analysis, if you think that the framework that I've done, all the analysis is very comprehensive and is enough to convince you to come find me to make your next smart choice home purchase, please contact me at this number. Okay, you can scan or just add the number directly, your preference. And the link is also available in the description. All right. So yes, I look forward to going to the show flat with you to look at Penrith and then going through the excitement of the booking day, especially the booking day itself, and then prior to that, all the different processes. Yeah, because I myself, I'm going to buy Queenstown. As a Queenstown resident, it's highly likely that I will buy Penrith. The only reason I may not buy are the exact 4 reasons that I just mentioned in the why I will not buy Penrith section. Because you have to understand, there's one important phrase that I follow by, and it's called happy wife, happy life. Okay? If you know, you know. If wife doesn't like the appliances and we're buying for homestay, well, it's going to be very tough for me. Okay? So, yeah, I have to see Zion Grand prices to decide whether I'll be buying Penrith or Zion Grand. It's really all dependent on Zion Grand prices now. Because Penrith prices are good. So we have to see whether Zion Grand is worth it. Yep. Okay, so don't forget to contact me at this number. Alright, bye.